What's going on, guys? So we are back here at the cargo trailer taking a look at this new product that was provided to me from a company called Suaoki. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, but I don't want to destroy the name any further, so I'm going to get past that. This is a really cool product, but at the same time it is a relatively large and heavy product as well. So hang tight, let's go over this G1000 from Suaoki. We'll be right back. Alright, so I have been watching other YouTube videos on this product, and I didn't want to make the same video that everyone else has made, so I'm going to make this one just a little bit different. This is the G1000. It's kind of a portable battery bank. Basically, what this is designed to do is provide you up to 1,182 watt-hours of energy with the lithium-ion technology utilizing lithium iron phosphate. This is the safest form of lithium-ion that you can have, and it's definitely something that a lot of people are becoming more familiar with as they get into either full-time RVing, caravanning, going outdoors, off-grid kind of stuff, and they need a lot of power. Or if you're using the traditional lithium iron phosphate batteries to replace your RV batteries, like I have here in the cargo trailer. You've probably seen my previous videos where I installed 2 of the Lion Energy lithium iron phosphate batteries. Again, lithium iron phosphate is a form of lithium-ion technology. So oftentimes you'll get feedback or comments from people saying that this is not lithium-ion technology, when in fact it is. It's just lithium iron phosphate version of lithium-ion technology. Anyways, let's take a look at the front panel of this, because this is really where all the magic happens. You're going to have 4 110 outlets. It's going to provide you pure sine wave power, which means it's going to have that very smooth energy fluctuation, and that's going to give you the ability to power things that might be more sensitive. Things like fans, things that have electric motors inside of them that rely on pure sine wave, are basically the same type of energy that would come out of your house wall outlet. If you have a modified sine wave converter, you're going to have more of a blocky energy transfer, and it's not going to work well with a lot of electronics, and it can even damage some electronics. So pure sine wave technology, very nice. Alright, so it also comes with 4 USB outlets. It's going to have your standard 2.4 amp outlets and then your quick charge 3.0 outlets at 18 watts. Plus it has a USB-C outlet up top rated at 60 watts. It has your standard cigarette lighter adapter. It's at 12 volts and 10 amps maximum. And this is very similar to what you might have inside of your vehicle. So this is going to be really good if you have to power like one of those portable air compressors, or you might have to power maybe a spotlight, something that requires the older style connection, or if you simply used all your other connections and you have that cigarette style USB converter to charge your phones. So in the top left here, you're going to have the ability to actually charge this battery bank. So it gives you the ability to either use the 110 included outlet to plug it into your home power or generator to charge this, or you can use the solar connector, which will connect here, and you can connect up to 160 watts worth of solar power to this battery bank to charge it. And a huge perk to this model is the fact that it actually has a case up top to hold all of your cables. So all of your battery charging cables, everything that you need to go, even the instruction manual, you can store in this top section. Now, if you have dealt with any type of charger like this, or even any of those portable Bluetooth speakers, anything like that, your cables are generally kind of an afterthought, and trying to store them or find a way to keep them in a place that you can get to them quickly can be kind of confusing or difficult. In my case, I have several of these smaller battery banks, and the problem is I always lose the cables because there's nowhere to store the cable with the actual battery bank. I love the fact that they give you the storage up top to put all your cables in, and that to me is a pretty big selling point. That gives you the ability to have everything you need, from your solar charging cables to your main power 110 cable, basically everything you would need to keep this charged and to recharge it whenever you're out on the go, and you don't have to worry about storage of the cables. So a huge advantage that this has over all my Jakhary products or my Rockpal products is that this has that storage up top, and that is a huge bonus. Alright guys, so let's power this thing up. You're going to press the power button right here. It's going to turn on. One thing that I'm a little disappointed about is that you don't have a lot of information on the screen. Some of these types of units give you tons of information on the screen related to what's going on with the actual unit. This one's kind of sparse. It doesn't give you a lot of info. Anyways, once you power it up, if you want to run 110, you simply press and hold the AC button. If you want to run your USB, you press and hold the USB button. If you want to run your 12 volt DC, you press that button down. And now that it's powered up, a fan actually will turn on. It's right here on the side. Not sure if you can hear that. So it's a pretty convenient setup. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Just keep in mind, this is a relatively heavy unit. It weighs near 50 pounds. You heard me right. This is a very large battery unit, and it's pretty heavy. So it's not going to be something that just anybody can lug around or carry around. It's definitely going to be something that if you put it somewhere, you might want to leave it there. But again, there's no fuel. You don't have to worry about changing the oil. You don't have to worry about any of that. This is essentially portable on-the-go power, and it's going to give you a lot of flexibility off the front of it. So now that you know a little bit more about this unit, let's find some things to plug into it and see how it works. All right, guys, so we have this patent space heater with us. This is a very common heater. This is something you can pick up at Walmart or Lowe's or just about any other store. This is a very typical model. It's rated at 1500 watts under full load. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this in. We're going to turn the power on, which it's already on. Then I'm going to flip on my AC power. And we're going to turn this from off to low. See what happens. So it did turn it on. Output, you can't really see, again, what energy output's coming out of it. You just see that it is providing AC output currently. And the heater's heating up rather well. It's actually providing a good amount of heat. Wow. So it does have enough energy to power this 1500 watt heater. You just don't want to crank it up all the way. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip it up higher and see at what point it shuts down the battery system. So now I have the heat turned up all the way. Still doesn't look like we're having any problem at all powering it. And again, this is a 1500 watt space heater. Now, I do have a guest with me, one that's been standing back behind me, kind of watching what's going on. It's my brother. You may remember he's the one in Florida that went through Hurricane Michael, and we made a trip over there to kind of help the folks out there. You want to say hi?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey. So what do you think of South Texas?
It's nice. I enjoy it. Definitely different than Florida, but we've had a good time here with my brother. It's been nice getting away from all the damage of Hurricane Michael. Still a lot of repair to go over in that area, but being here with the family has been very refreshing and much needed.
Yeah, and we're glad that you came too, so that's really awesome. So that's my brother. Anyways, back to the video. Now, what I'm wondering is if I switch it to number 2, what's going to happen? So let me turn the heat down a little bit. Put it on 2.
So far, so good.
So far, yeah. Well, never mind. Now we went into a 14 error code. So this is the system being overloaded. And it shut off, which is really nice because the last thing you want is a system to force energy out and potentially compromise the safety of the battery, especially something that is this large with such a large battery cell in it. So I'm going to drop the heat back down, put this on 1, turn the power off, turn it back on. Put AC power back on, flip the heater back on.
Yeah,
we're going good again.
1500 watts is going to be on your Power 2 selection.
Yep, so this is probably closer to about 800 watts, I'm imagining. And it has no problem powering this. Any type of device that generates heat is a really good test for something like this because they generate heat generally at a pretty consistent amount of power. So a curling iron, a heater, a blow dryer, anything like that is going to be a good test on a product like this. Now, I've seen some of the other tests and some of the other videos that show how long this thing lasts, and it's well over an hour if you are running in the 800, 700, 800 watt range. Now, if I bump it up to a full 1,182 watts, then it should only last 1 hour. However, this is a really good setup for a lot of things. If you're going to be cooking out with the family, you have a couple, slow roasters that are going, you have some type of a cooker that requires some power, this is going to be able to provide you a good amount of power. Now, you could probably even power a small microwave with it, something that doesn't generate or pull more than 800 to 1,000 watts of power. A lot of times, that is the limiting factor whenever using these smaller battery banks, is that they don't give you the ability to really power up things that might draw more than, say, 400 to 500 watts worth of power. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my Jakhary battery banks to show you a size comparison difference between the two. Alright, so this is the Jakhary box that I reviewed in the past. This is the Explore 500 box. This one has one 110 outlet, 3 USB, and a 12-volt cigarette style adapter. It also can receive either wall power or 12-volt power for charging from a solar panel. And you can see the difference between the two in size. This is probably 3 times the size of this specific one, if not more. This box probably weighs close to 15 pounds. This one, again, weighs nearly 50 pounds. This thing is very heavy. Again, this has tremendously more power. At the same time, this is also going to last much longer. So, well, as long as you don't run at full power. This one's going to provide about 500 watt hours. This one's going to provide about 1,000 watt hours, actually 1,182 watt hours. So again, they're not really in the same category of product because this can power something like a space heater where this one cannot. This one is really nice because it's compact, easy to carry, and if you have 2 of these types of devices, I can keep this one inside the vehicle that I can carry around, and if we're going to be going somewhere that requires more power for a longer period of time, then we could take this one. I love the fact that I can store all the cables on top of this box, whereas I have nowhere to put the cables with this one, and you run into the risk of losing the cables because you can't pair them to this box for a long period of time. Now, what is really nice about the Jakhary box is that it shows your output. So it shows that I have 127 watts right now coming out. If I turn off this light up here, you'll see what actually happens there. It'll drop that wattage down pretty significantly here in a second. And you can see that it's dropped to 94 watts. So you can see specifically how much wattage is coming out of the device into whatever you're running, whereas on this one you cannot. And I really wish that they had that added as a feature because it comes in really handy to understand how much something like that heater is drawing at any given amount of time, and if it's to what it's rated at. Now, when it comes to how I believe most people will use these, I think that if you are going to be taking a pop-up camper, if you're going to be in a smaller RV and you're going out to an area where you don't use a lot of power, maybe you need your lighting, you need to turn on a small cooking device every now and then, this would be a great replacement to your standard gas generator, especially if you pair it with solar panels and you can charge it up, because you essentially can have a tremendous amount of off-grid power in a relatively compact footprint that is not going to smell of gas or oil or anything like that, and it's going to require far less maintenance. Because this is lithium iron phosphate technology, you're going to have upwards of about 2,000 battery charge cycles before you notice any type of degradation in battery quality. On this specific device, this is great, but at the same time, though, I'm very limited on the amount of power that I can provide when I'm off-grid because it's going to go dead relatively quickly and it's not going to have the amount of power available as a device like this would. Now, this is going to cost about $400, $450 depending on where you buy it. This one, also available generally through the same markets, Amazon, places like that. This one's going to run closer to about $1,100. So there are usually some coupon codes available with both that give you a pretty significant discount, but this one is still roughly twice the price of this, even though you have to keep in mind that this is twice the power. So this has twice the power output as this Jakhary box. It is going to provide more power to things like a space heater. It's going to last longer if you're not needing to draw that much power. So right now I have the lights inside of the cargo trailer connected to this one, and it was at 90% when we got here. It's down to 57% now. If I have the same lights plugged into this power supply, this is going to provide power for a much longer period of time. And that is really the value behind something like this. How long can you use something like this with the power needs that you specifically have? So if you're going to be running an RV and you just need lighting because you're in a moderate climate, you don't really need to run your AC, this is going to provide you a much longer experience in terms of powering your lights and other things you might need than something smaller like this. They're both rechargeable using solar or a wall outlet, which is really nice. So if you're off-grid, you can use solar panels to charge either one of them. But just keep in mind the differences between the two. Much heavier device, much longer lasting if you're using it for roughly the same things you might be using something like this for. It is much heavier, but it also gives you storage for all your cables, so it's one nice device with everything kind of included with it.
I like how it has the quick charge USBs. A lot of your newer iPads or your newer phones, have the quick charge ability, so you can charge your devices much quicker. instead of one 110 outlet, you've got 4 here. It's much nicer.
Yeah, so if you have people on laptops and other things like that, that's also really important to be able to plug in multiple items. Cell phone charger, laptop, the lights for your RV, as well as maybe something that you might be using to cook with. So this is going to provide you a lot of flexibility. Now, one huge perk that this has that this doesn't is that this can also act as a UPS or an uninterrupted power supply. Basically gives you the ability to connect this thing to like a computer, connect this to other things you might have, and if you lose main power, this kicks on and provides uninterrupted power to whatever that is. But if you plug this into like a desktop computer, you can use this in your home essentially as a backup power source in case you lose power, and it will kick on automatically so you don't have any type of interruption of power, which can be pretty bad to, again, desktop PCs, things that can suffer problems if they lose power abruptly. So that is a huge perk of this, is that it also acts as a UPS.
I think a great practical use for this, even though you might not want to be caught in that situation, is after a storm, after a hurricane. You know, when we have no power and definitely need to power up devices, maybe your refrigerator or a radio, just to kind of hear the updates through the storm service agency.
Yeah, you know, one of the nice things about a power pack like this is its size. And that's a huge perk when you are in a disaster recovery type situation, when you need power to, again, a refrigerator, maybe a microwave occasionally to cook something, a small roaster, something that you might want to prepare a meal with, but you also need long-term power. You need something that's going to provide you longer power than some of the smaller units that are out there. So that is really nice that a device like this can be used in a home type environment as well, following a major storm, following a power outage.
It definitely beats having the generator outside running loud with all the power cords running through the house trying to power up the devices. This would be great to have inside the home, and then when the battery starts to run low, take it outside, hook up the solar panel, and charge it back up. You don't require any gas or any oil, and it's not noisy. So I wish I would have had this after the storm. It would have been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if all you're trying to power up is lighting.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need to feel a little bit safer and more secure after a storm.
Yeah, the city had absolutely no lights. It was pitch black outside. You couldn't even see in front of your face. So something like this would have been great. And looking back, I think I'll make the investment and maybe get one of these.
You think $1,000 or $1,100 is too much for something like this?
No, not for the convenience of it and what it offers. In times like that, sometimes the price is irrelevant for the convenience, having of those the necessities that you're used to, and you just don't have at that time.
Especially when you have your family with you. Small child, a lot of times just having some lights on when everything else is pitch black is like a security blanket.
That's right. And you know, all we had at the time was a little laptop with a DVD player. That's all we had to keep her entertained. All the debris outside and the nails and everything, it was just a risk having her run outside and getting poked in the foot by something, and the hospitals were shut down. So having this to charge her devices, her tablet or the laptop, it's a great idea.
Anyways, guys, I will put a link in the description of this video to this product if this is something you might be interested in. I want to give a big thank you to this company for providing this for review and evaluation. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed my brother joining me for this content. Say hi to everyone again.
Hey guys, I enjoyed it.
And we'll talk to you again very soon.